you've seen the stories that I've aired over the years in Lazar and things of that sort. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being completely bogus, 10 being really real. Where does it fall?
I'd say it was a good 9. 8 in some areas and 9 in the other. He had some things wrong, but he had most of the things right. Although, as I said today in my presentation, my classification of what I knew about that area was S2. The complete complex was S2. What Bob Lazar was referring to was S4, which was 4 levels below S2. So when I said I'd never been to S4, some people asked me, well, I thought you said you were S2. Well, I wasn't at Bob Lazar's S4, that was underground. I was at S2, which were the administrative offices that functions for and control things about S4.
You drove down there one day on an assignment, and it doesn't look like there's a facility, and suddenly there is, right?
Absolutely. I was driving down in a 4x4 Jeep, a C7 Jeep. I was following the road. I was given a map. I drove down there, and I couldn't find anything, and I thought I'm at the wrong place. And all of a sudden, suddenly appeared 2 Air Force security police officers that came out with M16 rifles and said, "What are you doing here?" They saw my sticker on the OSI vehicle, and I said, "I'm here to interview some people." He said, and he checked all my badges and so forth. He said, "Okay, I want you to drive through that door right there and then park the first space to the right." And I looked over at the mountain. I said, "What door?" He said, "It'll open in a minute." And it opened. It was all camouflaged. It opened. I drove in. I pulled to the right, parked, got out, walked over to the entry control point, did my exchange badge system, and that was a facility.
That's pretty wild. Not many people can say that they've been to that spot. Supposedly there's never been anything there, ever. There's no facility, no road, no anything.
It's there. I can guarantee it's there. It's very well camouflaged, but it's there.
Can you talk about the project you're working on, the book project, not the other one, but the book project, and what you hope to, the troubles you're having in getting it cleared, and what it'll be about?
I wrote a book in 2015 about my life in intelligence, everything that I did for those 10-year period, and some things I did during my Air Force stint, my active duty stint, which was also in a form of intelligence. And I put it all together. I had help from a person to write it. I had a publisher, but I had to send it to the Air Force clearance office to get it cleared because I'd had a top secret clearance and code word clearance before. So I sent it there. It was a 569-page manuscript. I sent it to them. It took them about 4 months to get it back to me. And when it got back to me, 343 pages of it was totally redacted.
Ouch.
So there was no way it wouldn't make sense if So I've been appealing that over and over again. During the Obama administration, I had people telling me I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And then it just died. And I kept asking, kept calling, and then of course a new administration came in, a Trump administration came in. I'm having the same problems. But hopefully they sent me back. I had to hire an attorney, Washington-based attorney, and he's pushing things along for me. And so hopefully I just have to redact about 169 sentences, and then hopefully it'll be published by the end of the year.
As an intelligence officer, last question. As an intelligence officer, you had a job to do, an assignment, you followed orders dealing with this topic. As a human with an inquisitive mind, you're interested in this stuff. Are you encouraged by the general nature of what's happening, what seems to be unfolding right now? Cautiously optimistic.
I am very impressed. I'm very impressed by almost every speaker here this week. I spent the whole week here. I got here on Saturday, and I've spent the whole week here listening to almost every speaker. And I'm very impressed with the presentations. I'm also impressed with the enthusiasm from the people that come here and frequent this event, and the researchers, the dedicated researchers that I've met. And I've met some wonderful people. I've met some really good people that are researching this in depth as an ordinary person, and I'm very impressed by it.
The events, ATIP, OSAP, news coming out, the New York Times, I mean, that's an amazing story. It wouldn't have happened years ago. Does it change the ground rules? I mean, does it change the environment for somebody like you?
I believe it does. I think a disclosure is going to happen, a piecemeal, and I think this is part of it. The Tic Tac, those videos, the information that's being disseminated, but my sources tell me that this was just a very small fragment of the entire picture. The release that was occurring because of Senator Harry Reid, who is a wonderful person. I met him once, as I told you. I think it's just piecemeal. I think that's just like a sliver compared to what the government has. And let me tell you this before we go. One of the reasons that this project, the investigation and examination, the technical examination of UFOs, have been going on for so many years, Dr. Hal Puthoff made it very clear at one point some years ago. He said, this technology is so advanced that we just can't understand it. Eric Davis says we'd have to write new mathematical equations to understand this. And so what we have to do is just do what we can now and just move it along until we get enough technology to understand the full program.
That's how it was described to me one time, is every 10 years or so, they wheel it out and take another look at it and see, can we figure it out yet? And they wheel it back in.
That's exactly true.
Thanks,
Yes.
Rick.
You're welcome.